everyone, welcome to Mind Discussions. This is Sakshi.
And I am Rashi. So we also studied as an international student in Canada. And as we all know that University of Toronto is one of the best universities in the world, and it provides top class education to students all around the world. But for getting into these universities, it's really important to know about the application process, what are the requirements, what you need to highlight in your profile, as we have a lot of things in a profile, but we don't actually know how to showcase those skills, like how to create SOP, what references you need, and after getting the admit from this university, what courses you should take.
So today we'll be meeting Mr. Saket Thavanani, who did his masters from the University of Toronto, and he came from a different background, but he switched into this data science field, and he is having a very good knowledge about the projects you should do and the courses, as Rashi mentioned, about the courses you should take while getting an admit from University of Toronto. So he'll be sharing his personal experience, and it will be very knowledgeable. So please watch the video till the end, because towards the end he'll be sharing what the employers look into a potential candidate and what should be in your profile, in your resume, to get selected in a good company.
Yeah, and he'll be telling a lot of information. He'll be giving about the scholarship opportunities, internships, the part-time funded projects, and particular course codes that you should look into, the waiting list of students to get into a course, etc., etc. So it is really going to be a very informative session. So let's
meet him personally.
Hello, Saket.
Hi, Rashi. Hi, Sakshi. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
How about you?
I'm pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
This COVID thing is frustrating sometimes. Otherwise,
Yeah. So Saket, we like to start with asking about what are the requirements to get admit in the University of Toronto. So what were the highlights in your profile which helped you to get the admission from this prestigious university?
okay. So I would say if somebody is planning to apply for a master's, so there are two kinds of masters in Canada. And like that, it's in UFT also. So first is masters by research, and another one is the professional masters. So if anybody is interested to go into masters by research, that's pretty competitive. No matter which department you apply for, you really the criteria for getting into that is pretty rigorous. You need to have a very good CGPA. You need to be good, be from a good university. If not good university, you should have some research papers. And yeah, finally, you should have a good connection with the professor. Maybe you have done some internship in your summers with that professor. Then yeah, he can call you up. That is more about masters by research, and that is completely funded. You don't need to take out a single penny from your pocket to pay. And yeah, so that way is pretty clear. It depends upon what student likes, right? And the second stream is master of engineering. So we have various streams. It doesn't matter. I'll just tell you the main core streams, like it's mechanical, computer, material science, biotech, and computer science. So there's a difference between computer science and computer engineering.
Okay.
To get into that, for students who are from the similar background, like if somebody is from mechanical and if he wants to get into mechanical, the criteria is pretty good, but it's not as rigorous as if somebody wants to change his field. Like for example, I was in material science, right? And I did my BTech in material science. So I joined as a material science student. So it was not really hard for me. And as I was from IIT, I had a pretty good CGPA, so that's fine. But for in case if somebody wants to come from material science and go into CS, which I think many students are doing these days,
Right.
looking at the market, they want to go into data science, artificial intelligence, and CS. So for that, I would say what UFT looks at is one thing is GPA, that's very important. Second is okay, you have to come from a good university, but that's not mandatory. That's fine if you are not from, but if you are coming from India and Asia side, UFT considers every child is pretty intelligent and they are coming from that background.
Okay.
So GPA, a good SOP you have to write. You have to convince them that okay, why do you actually qualify for this program? Like that's why they'll choose you. That's the first step. And once you are done with that, you have some pretty mandatory requirements like your IELTS score, and GRE is not mandatory. If you can add that, that might boost up your profile. But yeah, so this was like for engineering. But if you want to get into computer science background, that is super tough. So that is really tough. If you want to actually, then for that you should have a really good GPA, a really good experience, and yeah. But if you are, if somebody is really interested into getting into software field or technical field, then I would say UFT computer science curriculum, it's one of the best in Canada. Even if you take one course in a semester, that's so rigorous and hard. You won't even get time for yourself. One course will just take the hell out of you.
Right.
So it depends upon student, what does he want to get into. For example, if a student is from mechanical background and he wants to go into computer science, but he is not able to get that, that's still okay. He can join as a mechanical engineering student. So once he comes here, you have a pretty flexible rule of taking courses, taking certifications. So he can always end up taking courses from CS department. We have a very cool certification that is, we call it as emphasis analytics, which has a pretty good set of courses, like 20 really good courses. Uh, in that, you have to at least finish 6 courses that makes you ready for that certification. And those courses are really taught by good professors who have actually done their PhDs and have worked in Google or IBM for long years. So yeah, that is pretty good. I would say, yeah, that's for now.
Okay. So does the university your undergrad is from matters? Like you are from IIT, right? So does it matter for getting into University of Toronto? And does the CGPA matters for a student to get admission? Say if a student has really good research papers and but he's not from the top schools of India or anywhere in the world and they want to get into Uoft. So
Okay.
what's the criteria for them?
Okay, yeah. GPA and having coming from a top school is a huge criteria, but it's not everything, to be honest. If he can show his research in his statement of purpose, like suppose he has published 10 research papers, not even 10, maybe 2 or 1, and in a good journal, that can be a very plus point. That can be almost equivalent to a good GPA and from a good university.
So for CS, like you mentioned, it's really tough. So GRE, so giving a GRE score is like not a mandate, I guess, but it's important, I guess, right?
uh, it's I mean, yeah, if it's not mandatory, if you have a good GRE score, but for example you don't meet other criteria, then yeah, because I think almost 500 to 600 applicants apply for CS and we don't have much seats. It's like pretty less, 20, 30 or 40.
Okay.
And
And
I don't even know the number of applications, might be huge or less. Yeah.
it's completely relative, right? So
Oh yeah, it's relative.
okay. And does it matter getting a good reference from good professors back from your BTech?
Oh, okay. This thing really matters. I forgot to add it in my list. Yeah, if a professor has a really good recommendation for you, okay, he worked with me, his work was really good, he helped me out and everything. Yeah, that plays a big role. So, in fact, I'll tell you a story. Not a story, just a highlight of my life. So, when I came here, I really wanted to switch from material science to CS. So, I literally tried for that. I went into the CS department and I asked them, "Oh, please, I'm real." So when I finished 1 or 2 machine learning courses at the end of my first year, I thought, why not? Let's go to CS. You will get much better atmosphere and you will get much better. So I went to the department to ask, "Can I please apply for it? Would you consider my application?" So they said, "Yes, we would consider your application. You can go ahead with that since," and they specifically told me, "We do not want people from CS background. We like diversity in our course." They like to have people from mechanical, chemical. They have no restrictions with that. As long as you prove it to them, you are a pretty good student and you can cope up with their requirements.
So we just want to know the highlights of your profile. What was as we know that you have a pretty good profile. You are from top school of India, and then your CGPA is also nice, and you've done a lot of projects, right? So just highlights of your profile that can help students.
Highlights as in terms of my projects, what I did, or what courses I took up that way.
Just for getting the admission here.
Like according to you, what you think, what was unique in your profile that helped you getting there, basically?
I think having the name of IIT was good enough, even if I had a 6 CGPA. So to be honest, but yeah, uh, that really doesn't matter. But yeah, as long as you, so I applied to, yeah, I applied to, if somebody wants to get into the program of EFT, usually people fear, okay, they won't get accepted. They won't get accepted like that. And I think they have a choice also. They cannot apply to multiple programs. They can just apply to a single program. Like they can't apply for mechanical, computer, and CS at the same time.
So you can only have like one application.
Not one application, but there's certain limit. You can't. So for me, like I applied for the same department, but for two masters, like masters by research and masters by professional. I was not accepted into masters by research. Even if I am from a good institute and have a good research, so that is competitive.
And did you contact any professor supervisors before that, right? The
I'm
master's.
trying to contact professors from various universities and UFT also, but yeah, they usually get back to you. They don't have enough funds, and something like that. Even if you are a pretty good student, yeah. So I think having a good connection from your internship, that plays a big role.
Okay.
I didn't have any research papers, so that might be the reason.
Okay, and is there any time frame that students need to contact the supervisors? So before 2 months, 3 months, before application or after application?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that should be 1 year ahead of your application.
So I think making a good SOP, getting good references, then your school from which you're coming, from your GPA, and this is all what you show on your profile. Getting good contacts, this all helps, right?
Yeah, really, it helps.
So coming back to the data science field, as this field is like booming in the market right now, most of the projects are going on in data science, right? And you are also inclined towards the same. So right, you have done a lot of projects and you have won also the data competition, right? So how can one develop such skills? Like how, if someone wants to get into this field, what one has to do for getting the same?
Okay. So, first of all, I would divide this into two groups. One, students who are coming from India and they have a pretty good experience. Like they have worked as software engineers or analysts for 2-3 years in a good company or a startup. And another, students who are directly coming after their BTech. So, the students who are directly coming after their BTech and joining as a master students, it's slightly tough for them to penetrate into this data science market because all the data science roles, they require you to have some experience. Even if you have done a lot of things, you have done a lot of courses, and even if you get a chance for interview, in the end they really need you to have some experience. But on the other side, if a student has a good experience from India, no matter in which field, but he has experience, then yeah, for him the path becomes pretty. I wouldn't say simple. It's tough, but he would get a really good start for his first job. And in terms of skill, I would say it doesn't really matter. You take up an online course, you watch a YouTube video, you take a UFT course, or any of your university courses. What the employer usually looks at the five things. First thing is how much theoretical knowledge you have about data science, machine learning, deep learning. Second thing is they test you at your mathematical skills, statistical skills. Third thing is they want you to have some business enthusiasm for learning business, right? They just don't want, okay, he's very good at tech, he's very good coder. They don't want people like that. They want you to show some interest to learn about business, the market, how it works. The fourth thing is you should have a pretty good tech stack. Like I would say, you should be good at one programming language and all kinds of libraries and like different things. Like all usually when you apply to any startup, they usually just match it up. You need to have big data skills. You need to have some cloud skills. You need to have some math skills, some linear programming skills. Every single thing. This is for startups. But if you want to get into a really big company, like all the good banks and the FANG companies, then these things don't really matter much. For them, the qualification requirement is pretty less, but the interview process are pretty tough. For example, different banks like Scotia Bank, TD Bank, they offer a graduate programs. So I would say whoever wants to get into this field, he should start applying into those programs. It's easier to get into that, and it gives you a very good start.
In your course, like the course you took in Uoft, were there any co-op options, or like you did some offline internships? Like, what were your path?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, if I had a co-op option, that would be pretty good, and I advise every single student to choose a co-op program, which only the CS program offers, a compulsory co-op. So that is a pretty good thing if somebody can get into a co-op program. But if not, yeah, you can obviously try to apply for internships offline. So in my case, I actually mailed a professor from computer engineering department, and he gave. So usually in our masters, we have a choice to do a master of engineering project. So instead of 3 courses, you can replace those 3 courses with a project. So I mailed him, okay, I'm interested, and he had a look at my resume. Then he said, okay, we have a funding available with the company Fidelity Investments. So if you want to come and do that project, yeah. Then I just applied for it, and I worked there for 8 months. It was like a collaborative project between UFT and Fidelity, and yeah, I had a team of 2 3 people, but most of the stuff I had to think of my. I just got a guidance from my seniors how the business works. But in terms of technology, I had to learn on my own, read articles, improve my programming skills. So yeah, it was a pretty good experience. I actually worked on developing some kind of recommender system for the sales team. Okay, and yeah, they are going to take it forward from that.
That's really nice. So we just want to know about like different courses in your program, and like what courses you took and those helped you up. Are there any specific courses you want to mention about so that students can look upon those courses?
Yeah, sure. If somebody is joining UFT and he's not from a CS background, then we have a pretty good set of courses, the way he should approach those courses. So we have a pretty good prerequisite course for analytics. It is like we have 4 prerequisite courses. Like one of them is APS 1070. It is like Foundation of Data Analytics and Machine Learning. So it basically teaches you every single basic you need to know to get into this industry or this subject. And this course, the one thing about this course is they don't allow you to use libraries. You have to learn that knowledge, and you have to code up everything using those mathematical equations. You cannot access any scikit-learn library. Suppose you have to do linear regression or any kind of clustering algorithm, you have to really code it. You can't use just sklearn. So this course is pretty good. If you are taking this course, yeah, it builds up your logic and gives you a pretty good start. I would advise this as the first course if somebody is from a non-CS background. And the second course I would say is another introductory course. It's from mechanical departments. It's Introduction to Data Science and Analytics. The course number is MIE 1624. That is also pretty good. This course, uh, the professor is actually very good. The way he teaches, the passion for him, you can actually look at him. So suppose we had a class from 7 to 9, and even if you ask him doubt after class, like at 9 p.m., he would stay there till 10 p.m. He'd help you out. He's so much passionate into teaching students. That's pretty good. And one thing I would say, the projects which we do at UFT, they are pretty much different from India. The projects over here are completely self-dependent. You have to independently go there, learn that technology stack, and then you have to build up that skill and come up with your solution. So these were the two, and the projects which the professor gives. For example, in this course, MIE 1624, professor tries to give a project that is part of an ongoing competition. So, like I took a part in Data Cup competition. I didn't go on my own. So that during that semester, that competition was being hosted. So professor told the entire class, okay, make a teams of 5, and everybody has to take part. That's your project. So these are the 2 courses in terms of data science and machine learning, which can give you a pretty good start if you don't get into CS and you are from other backgrounds.
Okay.
And apart from that, I would say there's a very good cloud computing course, Introduction to Cloud Computing, that teaches you a lot of AWS and expects you to build your own web application using AWS. Everybody should take that. Another one more course is like data structures and algorithms. In that, you usually focus on your programming skills, how to use those data structures and save memory. So yeah, these 4 courses, I think they'll make up a big part of your. Apart from that, if somebody is interested into going to computer vision, NLP, or anything, we have specific courses like we have CS courses like natural language computing, then image processing. It depends. But these are the four courses which somebody can take, and it can really help them.
And like just to clarify, like anybody who is like doing any program in UFT can take these courses if they want to. They have
Oh,
like
that's a very good question. I mean, it's yeah, that's what the problem is. I was not able to take this data structures algorithm and cloud computing course because if you are from a different department, for example, these two courses are offered by computer engineering department, but I'm from material science,
Right.
so they won't like you to take this. First, they will prefer okay, all of their department students get this subject, and if in case after that there are few seats left, you can get into that. But I have been trying since 2 years. I was always on the wait list, so never got a chance to take up these two courses, and I had to learn on my own. There are very few famous courses which are, I mean, you have to put your name on the wait list 6 months ago, then only you can get it. Even after that, there's no surety.
so like we are talking about University of Toronto. So like what are the kind of scholarships you got, or if and like if there any particular kind of scholarship that international students should apply for, and how they can manage their expenses?
Okay, so usually when students come here, they don't know how to manage expenses, so they end up taking a part-time job, which is not a good idea. I did that in my first year, and I regret till now. So yeah, coming here to study and doing a part-time job is not something. I mean, you should always try to build up yourself. That's better. But in terms of what I'm telling is money and expenses. I wouldn't say UFT has a lot of scholarships, but those are mostly for masters by research students and PhD students. The people who enter into professional masters, and I think 95% of the population is professional masters, they don't really get a chance to get any scholarship. It's pretty difficult. So the best way for them to manage their expenses is they become a TA. Getting a teaching assistant job is pretty easy. You take a course in the first semester, you get a good grade, and you show professor your interest and ask him, okay, I want to be TA next semester. Then yeah, that's pretty good. And even if that way is not there, there are I would say tons of undergrad courses, tons of grad courses related to stats, mathematics, programming. You will surely get into some TA position if you have just good project experience on your profile. Yeah, even if you are doing maybe one TA or two TA, that's more than enough to meet your expenses for the whole month.
Okay, are there enough TAs relative to the international students that are coming?
Yeah, there are enough TAs, but if you like, the ratio is not pretty good. But yeah, I would say if there are 100 students coming, there are 20 TAs available for that. So 80 students tend to not find anything, so they can obviously go for another path, which is research assistantship. We have a pretty good portal inside UFT where you can apply for work study jobs. So those are like basically RA jobs. Professors have different projects under them. They can ask you for help, and they can pay you for that.
Our next question would be like what employers basically look into the profile. As you've already mentioned many things about what employers look into, does the certification helps the student, and does UFT provide such certifications? Like you have mentioned that there are courses that helps us fulfill that condition. So is there any specific thing you want to add on to that?
Oh yeah. So yeah, UFT provides certifications. Like I told you, certification in analytics. There's another certification in robotics, which is also similar to this. But what I would say is, when I entered here as a student, and I understand this thing because everybody who comes for the first time, they have this doubt. I was really confused for first 6 months. What should I do? Should I take courses which give me a certification, or should I go for really good courses which teach me something good, forgetting about the certifications? So what I have learned is certifications just matter to show it on your resume, getting an interview maybe. But as long as you are there for an interview, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
If you have a zero certification and if he is asking you and you are confidently answering everything and you know you have a good knowledge about your subject and your field, then I don't really think it matters. It matters what you have learned. And basically, the quality learning matters. It's not like that you have to learn 20 tools. You have to learn AWS, Azure, Databricks, big data, everything. It's not like that. Whatever you know and whatever is there in your resume, you should be pretty confident with that. So that once you get an opportunity, you should be the best in that.
Right. Okay. That was a very. You want to ask anything?
No, I was just going to say that it was a very good session, and it was a pretty good knowledge, because students don't know, sitting anywhere like in India or anywhere around the world, that what kind of courses or what program they should be like apply for in any university. So it was really good talking to you, Saket.
Yeah,
It was
thank you so
very informative, and yeah, it's gonna help a lot of students.
much.
Definitely.
Yeah. I would want this video goes to as many students as. Yeah.
We will try.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for taking the time out for like giving us the insights of your course and university, and hope to keep in touch. And thank you so
Sure.
much again. Have a good day.
So, how was the video, guys? So, if you found it really helpful, if the discussion was very insightful with Mr. Saket, then please like our video and subscribe to our channel.
And Mindmean discussions will keep coming up with more interesting conversations with different students pursuing their courses in their universities.
And if you like to know about a particular course, you can always comment in the comment section. If you have any particular course in your mind and you want to get a personal experience, insights from a student, we'll definitely get back to you. And we'll keep coming with more videos. Thank you.
Thank you.